It's not about me. It's about us and working together. And it's because that's important to have that relationship to use the police department on positive things as problem solvers and not just enforcement. So
So let me see you. I saw you hand Brandy one of these. So yours was a police chief thing.
Yep. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's.
I wondered if it had your name on it. It doesn't have your name.
No.
It says who you are.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's unique, actually. Chief Stahl, Rick Clore, and I designed this badge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool that it's so unique. There's not another one like it. So Maricopa has its own badge.
How's it sound now, Abel? We're good?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come out here as well, too. Thank you.
This is exciting. This is really exciting. I'll have to get used to calling you Chief. Yes.
Jim works.
All right, everybody. It's about time for us to get started this evening. So if you guys please find your seats. Council members seated behind me, thank you guys very much. We'll get started just a minute. What do you like, sir? All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Luis Vila. I'm the Communications Coordinator for the City of Maricopa. We're here today to conduct the Change in Command ceremony for welcoming Commander James Hughes as our new Chief of Police for the City of Maricopa Police Department. With us today are honored guests, Mayor Christian Price, Vice Mayor Nancy Smith, Council members Vincent Manfredi, Henry Wade, Bob Marsh, and Rich Vitiello. This event is a public demonstration in continuity of the leadership, and it allows us to take the time to recognize and reflect the accomplishments and achievements of the Maricopa Police Department, as well as those of the outgoing and incoming chiefs. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize and honor our current Chief of Police, Chief Steve Stahl, for his years of dedicated service and commitment to our community. Chief Stahl. Chief Stahl has served as the Chief of Police for the City of Maricopa since October of 2011, first serving as interim chief. He accepted the Chief of Police position in February of 2012. Chief Stahl came to Maricopa Police Department from the City of Mesa, where he spent 24 and a half years, and he was promoted to commander there back in 2007. During his career in Mesa, his areas of command included 2 police districts, SWAT, gang enforcement, training, communications, hiring, the crime lab, holding facility, and animal control. These assignments provide him with experience working with civilian and sworn employees, direct exposure to residents, community groups, business leaders, and educational institutions. Chief Stahl has led the Maricopa Police Department through great change during his tenure, focusing on community outreach, improved policing tools, and the use of data in crime reduction. Residents have enjoyed the ability to directly engage through his monthly Coffee with the Chief citizen meetings. Stahl championed joining the Regional Wireless Cooperative, greatly improving police communications and radio coverage. He led the effort for Maricopa to become one of the first cities in Pinal County to equip officers with body-worn cameras, expanding transparency and training. During his tenure with the Maricopa Police Department, earned the status as the youngest city to ever reach the national accreditation through the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, ensuring policies and practices meet or exceed best practices. Stahl implemented the CompStat, a nationally recognized approach to crime reduction, and introduced intelligence-led policing. While at the helm of the department, the city of Maricopa has been consistently ranked in the top 10 safest cities in the state. Now I'd like to introduce Mayor Christian Price up to say a few words about Chief Stahl.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted to say what a great opportunity this is. What a career for both Chief Stahl and Chief Hughes. And what a unique opportunity it is to see and to grow in this city and to be part of its unique history. I just wanted to give many thanks to anyone in the industry, both whether you're fire or police or military. You certainly know what goes into it, and it's a family affair. And without the backing of Liz and your whole family, I don't know if you would have been as successful as you were. And I certainly would say the same for Chief Hughes and everybody in this industry. It is something that is undoable without that family support. And to that, I wanted to say thank you to Chief Stahl for all of the many years of dedicated service to the city. He and I have been on speed dial many a times. Some conversations are pleasant, some aren't, when things are going wrong or things are going right. And he's always been a stalwart professional to be able to deal with the many things that we've had to do together. And so I really appreciate that, and I thank you for all the service that you've performed to this city over the many years that you have been here. You really did transition us out of something that was brand new, and yet I'm sure the day you took the helm, it was even more brand new because of all the things that needed to be fixed. And so again, many thanks for that. And to Chief Hughes, I would just say to you today that what an interesting experience that you're going to now come into. You have a great predecessor. You've learned so much. I know that he personally reached out to you and helped hire you. I think you've been a wonderful person on this force, and I can't think of a more deserving person to take the helm at this time. And we are extremely grateful to you and to your family and for all that you are about to embark on. We look forward to many successful years ahead, and for the opportunity to excel and take and reestablish that trust that is difficult to come by. I know that in some recent interviews, you talked about being in the business of trust, and it's a hard thing in this day and age that the public doesn't always have the trust in our police officers, and that's a shame. But at the end of the day, it's our job to do what we can to earn that trust and to go back out and reach it again. And I know that you'll take us to that next level. And I am appreciative and thank you for it, and welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, Councilmember Henry Reid would like to share some thoughts.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome home safe and sound if you did any traveling. I don't have a lot to say, but I do have one thing that is very important I want to say about the relationship between law enforcement and the community. And it starts at the top on both sides. If you don't have a law enforcement officer who understands the community, is a part of the community, then you don't have a cohesive environment to live in. And to know that we are one of the safest cities in Arizona and in the nation over an extended period of time helps to bolster that idea that working together is important. I worked together with Chief Stahl. He allowed me to participate with him in his community outreach program, and I was very enamored to be able to participate with that program because it taught me a lot about the police department, taught me a lot about the city as well and things that we do in the city. But it gave me a chance to reach out to a segment of the community. I was representing the African American community at the time, and it gave me an opportunity to reach out, which I would have done anyway. But it also gave me a chance to observe the chief in his dealings with that community, with the African American community. And it was genuine, it was real, it was supportive, it was respectful. And each and every time that I have been approached by folks and certainly in our environment, people come and talk to you about things. And anyone's ever come to me and says, well, what about the chief? Well, from my perspective, he's a stand-up guy. He's a guy that you can go and talk to, and you can represent yourself, inch yourself with him, and he'll understand. And we're going to miss that when you leave, perhaps, because you picked your successor. You made it so that the person that's going to take over for you is also in the same frame of mind. Community comes first, family comes first. Those things that are necessary for it to have a strong, safe environment are critical and important to your successor. So I say thank you for that. And thank you, Liz, for keeping them straight, because we always know where the power comes from. Thank you so much, very much. And Chief, we're looking forward to you coming on in the capacity as chief. I'm sure that your troops are waiting for that to happen as well, because their leadership opportunity continues on. And I think that that's very important. And same thing to your family. Thank you very much for keeping them straight, because we know where the power comes from. Thank you all very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. Please welcome Councilmember Vitiello, who'd like to say some words about Chief Stahl as well.
These two men, over the past 17 years that I've been in this community, have become friends. And that's, it's going to be tough not seeing you around and giving you that phone call. As a volunteer, I got to work with both of them, and I'll tell you something, I was so proud to be part of the Maricopa PD because of both of these men and the staff that's behind them. Living in one of the safest cities in the state, I love boasting about it, and I know the whole force has a lot to do with that. But again, like Henry said, it started from the top. Two great men, many great women in our police department. It's just a pleasure to be here. I love talking about you guys. So I'm going to miss the friendship and the personal relationship with you, Steve. Jim, I've known you for many years. We share a lot of common things. Our giants stink. We live through it. We stay strong. But this community will miss Steve in the aspect of just his flamboyant, the way he's out there. He's always around. He's always available. And Jim, I know you've always been that to me. You already have had phone calls from me. And I just want to thank you and tell you that we've got the greatest police force in the country, probably in the world, because of you guys and the men and women of the force. Thank you for what you do. Keep doing what you do, and thank you very much for the best years of my life.
Thank you, Councilmember Vitiello. And finally, City Manager Rick Horst would like to recognize Chief Stahl.
Before I do, perhaps just a few words about soon-to-be Chief Hughes. You know, if you think he is getting this appointment because he is next in line, you would be wrong. If you think he's getting this appointment because he spent a lot of time wearing the uniform, you'd be wrong. It's not because of his good-looking haircut either, which I think is very good-looking. And if you think he wasn't vetted for the job, you'd be wrong again, because he and I spent many Saturday mornings sitting up here talking for hours on end about the future. And you can't talk about the future unless you talk about the past and the present as a part of that. So I just want to assure you that the appointment, and I've had the pleasure of appointing a number of police chiefs over my career, and frankly, it's a very daunting task to do that. And the relationship between the city manager and a police chief is very intertwined, because both are in high pressure, high stress situations, and sometimes we just got to have someone we can vent with, let some of the steam off. So I can assure you that his appointment comes because he's the right man at the right time to carry forward all the work that has been started for the next decade or so. So thank you. But with that said, a few comments about Chief Stahl. You know, I often ask myself, why would anyone want to be a public servant? You know, we open ourselves up to criticism. You can't even go to the shopping center and buy a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk without someone catching you and complaining about something, or why aren't you doing this, or someone stole my cereal out of my cart, put out a, search warrant or whatever to find that out, those type of things. But public service is a place where you can bring your talent, your ability, your sense of responsibility, and your sense of personal pride, knowing that you can make a difference and serve your community. That is what Chief Stahl has done. He has provided a sense of integrity, and he has used his knowledge to deliver for this community. Good public servants visualize the future and see how trends can contribute to their communities. Strengthened by their belief and vision, these individuals are willing to handle roadblocks to the realization of improvements and innovation. This is Chief Stahl. Passionate, this is perhaps the most important character. So, how to be a good public servant? I came up with 7 characteristics. First, kindness. Now, I realize on the surface you may say he's not always kind, but the truth is, if you see him the way I've seen him, his kindness and caring rises above everything else. He has shrewd judgment. He has future-proof skills, fairness, tenacity, a sense of duty, and yes, just a little hint of rebellion. Right? So, on behalf of the city of Maricopa, our mayor, council, and all of our citizens, and I know you have a luncheon tomorrow, but we'd like to give you this little token of our appreciation for your time served here in this city. So, Chief, if you don't mind.
Please join me in welcoming Chief Stahl to the podium.
Never give a retired chief a podium or a microphone, because I could go on for a long time. Out of respect to your 3-year-old, I'm not going to do that. I'm humbled beyond belief to be before you, but more importantly, I'm humbled because I got to work in an organization that was appreciated internally and externally. That is not often found, and it's something that this city needs to continue to hold close, very close, because it's fragile, it's fleeting. It's one bad moment away from not being accepting internally or externally. We're not there, and we're a long way from there, so there's no doubt in my mind the hard work that we have put in together, the hard work that you've put in yourself. No doubt in my mind, Chief Hughes is ready for this assignment. There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to put himself second in all decisions that he makes. That's all he knows how to do. Many of you don't know, this has been in his blood since he was a little boy. This is all he's ever wanted to do. Very unlike me, who never really wanted to be a police officer and certainly never wanted to be a chief of police. He's aspired for this position and worked hard for this position his entire career. That's to be commended, Jim. Very commendable. Long time coming, and yet it's the right time. I wish I could take credit for all the accolades and all the things that you talked about, Luis, but it takes a team. The command staff, if you talk to them, you will find that I have asked them to be as brutally honest with me as I've been with them. And by brutally honest, I mean, yeah, we yelled at each other. Imagine that in 21st century. A subordinate yelling at a police chief. How dare you? And yet, at that time, that's what this organization needed, is brutal honesty. Because we're so young and so new and so inventive that we had to dare each other to the next level. Never lose that. Keep daring to be great. Keep daring to be the best. Be inventive. Don't be afraid of failure, because failure really doesn't exist. It's just a mistake that can be corrected by doing it differently next time. Dare to be great. Liz, I couldn't do it without you. Riding over here, we were listening to serenade music, and of course she says, "You softy." You have been the solid rock and the foundation. You've listened unjudgmentally. You've contributed, and I've relied heavily on you. I would have never made it here without you. Thank you. And so to you, I thank you for your loyalty to public service. I thank you for your commitment to the Maricopa Police Department. And I thank you for your dedication to the men and women of this organization. Stand proud. You deserve it. Congratulations.
Prior to Chief Hughes taking his oath of office, I'd like to say a few details about his career. Jim Hughes began his police career in the Mendham Township, New Jersey in 1986, moving all the way through the ranks and eventually serving as lieutenant for 9 years. Overseeing the day-to-day operations of the department, Jim has served as police commander in the city of Maricopa since 2012. Serving first over operations, building partnerships throughout the city, and restructuring units and protocols for better efficiency and outcomes. Most recently, he supervised the Support Services Division, focusing on innovative solutions coupled with prudent spending to ensure the city has the tools and resources needed to be successful for years to come. Hughes holds a master's degree in criminal justice from the John Jay University of Criminal Justice. He's a New Jersey certified law enforcement executive and a graduate of the West Point Police Command Leadership Program. He's a certified New Jersey public manager and has attended numerous police-related leadership training on the state and federal levels. Please join me in welcoming Chief Jim Hughes, his family, and Judge Lyle Riggs to the podium for the oath of office, which will be followed by comments from Maricopa's new Chief of Police.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James Robert Hughes,
I, James Robert Hughes,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and the laws
and the Constitution and the laws
of the state of Arizona,
of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and defend them
and defend them
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of Chief of Police
of the office of Chief of Police
for the city of Maricopa
for the city of Maricopa
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you, sir. You're doing great. Great. Wow, what a ceremony. My mind just flashed back to my first interview here. At that time, I was the director of Honolulu Police Commission. I had an office about the size of this room, had fountains out front, and I'm sitting in the trailer waiting to meet Chief Stahl for a one-on-one interview. And I'm sitting to myself, am I making the right decision? And then about 2 minutes into the meeting with Chief Stahl and the interview, I knew I was making the right decision. And how far we've come as a city in the 8.5 years I've been here, how far we've come as a police department. Chief and I could talk for hours on what we've accomplished for this city. But once again, this isn't about me. This is about service to the community. This is about duty and responsibility. To echo the words of Mayor Price and Councilman Wade, it's about public trust. It's about being there for your community and taking us to continue to grow with the community. That's important. I just want to thank City Manager Horst, Assistant City Manager Brown. City Manager and I had some meetings and discussed it, and we're always on the same page because it's all about the city and it's all about the department. It's all about moving forward. And having those relationships moving forward is imperative. I want to thank Mayor Price and the City Council, because without your support, I'm unable to do this job. It's the police chief's responsibility to execute the direction and vision of the city. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And to my family, of course, to the love of my life, Brandy. I have my sons, Colin and Cody, and our little 3-year-old daughter, Allison, that's here. I have 2 other children who are not here. They're out of state. It's the sacrifices that public servants make on a daily basis. We can't do it without family, and just like Chief Stahl had mentioned, it's all about the family. It's all about the support mechanism. From everyone from the chief of police to a rookie officer. They have to have that support network to make it through this career. It's year 34 for me. It's went really, really fast, but it's been an amazing career. To Chief Stahl, Chief, I would simply state it, I would not be here without you. Not only did you hire me, did you bring me here, you mentored me, you developed the requisite skills that I need to be a chief of police. It's funny, as a lieutenant, when I retired from New Jersey with 25 years of service, I thought I was chief of police material. I was not. And it took Chief 8.5 years of molding me into a vision of himself and what we're trying to accomplish here. My promise to you, Chief, is that we will continue what we started here. We will maintain our vision of making never contact excellent. We will continue our outreach with the community. We'll continue our passion to this profession, our passion and commitment to our officers, our employees, our volunteers. That goes without saying. Chief Stahl, hardest working person in the building. You want to talk about leading by example. That man led by example every day. Tough man to keep up with. I thought I had a pretty good energy level, but I met my match with him. And I learned so much from you. Really, we have different deliveries and different styles, but we're really, when you peel back the layers, we're the same person in a lot of ways. Pledge to this community. It's my duty to keep this community safe and secure. That is a responsibility I will not take lightly. The department will continue to be professional problem solvers. A police department solves problems that the community cannot handle on their own. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have professional, compassionate police officers, which we already have. It is my responsibility to be open and responsive to the community, to listen to the needs and desires of the community. Always have to be attached to what the community needs and wants so we can move together as a city. To our employees, it is an honor to lead the amazing men and women of the Maricopa Police Department. That is civilian, sworn, and volunteer. My responsibility is to provide them with resources and support to do their job on a daily basis. Once again, this job is not about me, it's about the employees. They're the ones that are out there at 2 o'clock in the morning dealing with an individual in crisis. They're out there at 2 o'clock in the morning dealing with someone who doesn't know how to handle a situation, and they resolve it, and they resolve it in a peaceful, professional, compassionate manner. My job is to recognize the sacrifices our employees make on a daily basis. Not only, we all know about the risk police officers and our police employees deal with on a daily basis, but there's so many more risks that are out there, whether it's behind the wheel of an automobile, whether it's dealing with infectious diseases or dealing with COVID. These men and women out there are going into homes that either have a violent offender in it, they have infectious diseases, hepatitis, you name it, COVID, and it's their job, and they trust their PPE, they trust their brother and sister officers, and they trust that chain that binds them, that civic responsibility, that duty, that oath to solve the problem and make it better when they leave. And lastly, I'll close with it's recognizing the sacrifices that the families of all our employees make on a daily basis. This job is, for those that know me, I always say that this job is a marathon, not a sprint. And to last 34 years in this profession, you have to do it. You can't do it without the support of your family and your loved ones. And our officers, they deal with that working holidays, staying over on shift. They work 10 hours. Something happens in the 9th hour. They just can't go home. They have to resolve that incident. They have to write the paperwork up. So they're constantly calling their loved ones saying, I'm not going to be able to make it for the baseball game. I'm not going to be able to make the dance recital. I'm not going to be home for dinner. And that's the sacrifices our first responders make throughout the city. And I think our city does an excellent job of recognizing that as well. So, again, I'm very humbled for this position. I'll assure you guys that you did not make the wrong decision. I will not let you down. I will give you my 100%, and I will do my best to fill the big shoes that Chief Stahl left. Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.